Hey guys, welcome back to Taste of Victory. Today we got some gameplay of the green deck I just did a deck profile on post ban limit list. This was in the Nightmare Colosseum tournament, and this was my first round. This is against One-Sama, looks like was their name. So first round, this is against Hexeblue, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but so very hard matchup for me going into round one, probably the worst one. But my opponent starts first. They did draw on their first turn, which you're not supposed to do, so I called that out immediately. They just set it down, but they're gonna digivolve it to the rookie to just draw it right away again anyway, so whatever, not the biggest misplay, we just let it go, just let it go through that way. So they are playing Hexeblaumon. They start with Upamon underneath Digimon into the Grizzlymon, their blocker. So that leaves me with a 2 memory start. For some reason, the buttons weren't working. I think it was just because of lag. You can see the ping in the corner. So we're doing this manually, even though it's the automated mod. But yeah, I am playing green Digiburst and the new booster set 5 cards. I reveal Yokomon, who I run 4 of, because there is unbelievable synergy in this deck. With so many Digibursters, you're always getting that +2. Unfortunately, I have a terrible opening hand, so I have to hardcast the Digimon. Luckily, it is only 4 to play a champion, so I can only start them off with 2. Not the end of the world, but as you see in my hand, I have no ultimates to go into off of this. So this game 1 is honestly just absolutely awful, because I don't think I end up drawing into an ultimate for a while, and if I do, I think it just source trips all my stuff, because this is a hard matchup for green. Because Hexeblaumon, it's a great boss, or Hexeblue, whatever it's called. It's a great, I'm gonna go with blue for the purpose of the video. I hope I'm right, but Hexeblue is a fantastic boss. The thing is that up until then, all you're doing is stripping sources. So for a lot of decks, it doesn't really matter, because like Lord Nightmon, you just want, you know, that Ward Growlmon underneath Lord Nightmon or slash Angemon for that DP minusing and stuff for the on-play effects. And then in red, you just like you keep building your stack. It doesn't matter if they remove it because of Shoutmon DX. So Hexeblue has a lot of bad matchups in BT5, but green's obviously the best one for it, because like you rely so much on your Digibursting, so you have to play around being in the security or hiding in the breeding area all the time. And if not, like you got to be careful when you burst and when you don't, because if you burst all your sources, you stun yourself because of Hexeblau's effect to not let anything attack or block if it doesn't have any sources. So we saw this turn, my hand was getting a lot better. I finally see a rookie, so I'm able to Digivolve. I go into my 1-cost blocker, and then I hardcast that other rookie. I did draw another rookie off of the drawing for Kabuterimon, so I felt fine going into hardcasting the rookie, because then I do have that extra draw next turn with Palamon in hand. And Palamon is a fantastic card that will really come into play in this duel, because it lets you refill your Digiburst or put a source underneath another Digimon. So my opponent swings with their Vmon. I do luckily reveal the Whistlein. Not that much impactful this turn, but yeah, Whistlein when revealed, it'll stun up to 2 of your opponent's Digimon. They can't attack or block. And then if you have a Digiburster on field, gain 2 memory. I unfortunately do not, so I do not get the gain 2 memory part of this effect. You saw my opponent was like almost doing it out of habit. But there is no Digiburster on field, so that didn't go through. But I do stun their Grizzlymon, so I don't know how much impactful that was, but if they did have a 2-cost ultimate they were planning to go into, then they would have been able to swing with it, so that's at least 1 more security. But that stun from Whistlein when revealed in security is only until the end of their turn, so it doesn't really do much on my turn. They'll still be able to block. My opponent goes into Blukomon in their, not into Blukomon, they Digivolved up into Chris Paledramon. I guess it's like Cryo Freezing or whatever, so like Chris Paledramon. They Digivolved into that, so they Digivolved over Gorillymon with 1 cost. So I'm going to go ahead and move to get my blocker out. Unfortunately, Hexeblau's Digivolutions and stuff do strip the evolution sources, so Kabuterimon will not be able to block for long, since it only does have the 2 sources, easy to remove for Hexeblau, because one of his Digivolutions, I believe, is strip 2 from the bottom, or maybe 1 from every Digimon. So I Digivolve into Woodmon, hopefully get another blocker. Try just to make the most of an awful start here, because there isn't really too much I can do. I'm at 0 memory for security. I could Whistle and try to stun again, but it's not going to help much. I would have loved to have gone into Sunflowmon here and Digiburst to stun their Vmon, not worry about jamming and stuff, not being able to unsuspend, because I don't think blue has a lot of ways to unsuspend itself outside of that Garurumon restand combo. But unfortunately, like I can't Digiburst because there's not enough underneath a Sunflowmon if I were to Digivolve that Goblymon. So I hardcast the Palamon, because the least memory I could give him that turn, unfortunately, which is still 3, which is still enough to go into your Mega without passing turn, in this case Hexeblue. And its security, it's inheritable from Christ Paledramon, because it's security attack +1, because there's plenty of Digimon without sources on my field. And then it Digivolve, trash the bottom 2, so now Kabuterimon can't block, unfortunate. So it has jamming plus security attack plus 1, so I'm going to block with my Woodmon, who does have sources at the very least. And then that'll at least stop the security attack plus 1, so I don't have to worry about that, because they do also have that jamming Vmon, which is a safe swing. And then because of its inheritables, it has jamming as well, so it's only 11k, not a very safe number to swing with in terms of megas, especially now in BT5 with so many 15k, 12k DP Digimon security. But jamming makes it irrelevant. It's fine, it'll live if you don't reveal like Gaia Force or something like that. So they check 1 now with Vmon, they do get that check. I can't block with Kabuterimon because no sources. I will reveal Lilamon. So that doesn't do anything because it has jamming. And now it is still my opponent's turn. They have that Grizzlymon that they're probably not going to attack with because that's their blocker. It'll pass turn. But then that would have lethal on board next turn. I pulled up my recording there because I forgot what I was trying to do. I was trying to like check, make sure it was still recording. But yeah, that's fine. And then there was like some ruling things going on, so I'll just skip through this. I had to check in on some stuff. So my opponent plays 2 Hammer Sparks, so they can still choke me at 1 memory with Sora and Joe, which is fantastic tamer, because if I have no Digimon with no sources, at the start of their turn they gain 2 memory, so I have to be really careful what I leave them at. And then when I think when it Digivolves or attacks or something, you can rest that tamer to then strip the sources of your opponent, 2 sources from the bottom of one of your opponent's Digimon, so it's a fantastic tamer for the Hexeblaumon deck. Unfortunately, I have more bricks, and really the game just goes on like this, like it goes on like that. Like I am so desperate here that I just cast the HPD to be able to Digivolve for Sunflow without passing turn, hopefully draw into an ultimate. Of course, I don't have a rookie to go into anything, so this game, it just goes on like this for the rest of it, so I'm just gonna, the brick was too hard to come by, so I'm just gonna skip through this. They gotta Digivolve up, they have a board presence that I can't come back from because I just brick too hard. They start playing wider and wider. I can't keep up, I can't block, and they'll eventually swing for game. So that is game. Eventually, I end up straight up just forfeiting that round. So let's go into game 2, not wasting any more time. Because this video would be 40 minutes if I just played that whole duel through, so let's just skip through that. So we go into round 2. I will go first because I lost the last one, so I get to choose. So I reveal a much better opening hand, and I reveal my Yokomon, go into Palmon, draw off of that, fantastic. Palmon underneath something isn't the best because I'm always just going to swing to die into security, hoping to get its on deletion effect. So I would rather have something that's actually going to make use of Digiburst go over Yokomon, but it is what it is. It's no big deal. I'm just grateful to have seen a opening hand that is actually playable. So I'll go ahead and start. My opponent, it is now their turn. They start off with 2 memory, Digivolves the Sunflowmon, but it is their turn. They reveal Upamon. Upamon is a fantastic Digitama, Digi-Egg for blue, because when attacking once per turn, if I have a Digimon with no sources on the field, my opponent gets to draw 1, so that is fantastic to keep shuffling through your deck, keep cycling, keep drawing, so you don't have to worry about bricking as hard, more chances to unbrick. It is fantastic. So my opponent will start off with Sora and Joe. Fantastic tamer for this blue deck. They start me off with only 2 memory, again not the worst, so if they're going to cast it ever, that was the time. I'm going to go ahead and move into security. I am going to rest itself because my opponent seems to have bricked pretty hard. They didn't even have a rookie opening hand, so I'm not worried about him or her going up into fast enough into a level that could swing over my Blossomon, so I'm going to go ahead and download itself for free and then be able to play my memory tamer, Mimi Tachikawa. Since I don't have Digimon with no sources on the field, my Blossomon does have a bunch of sources. It doesn't get the boost from its tamer, so unfortunately for my opponent, they do not start at 3 or more memory. If I had a Digimon with no sources, and I guess I passed them that too, they would have started at 4. So that's how those Sora and Joe tamer kind of works out better than the traditional memory tamers in some situations. But you know, it's up to preference. So my opponent hard cast their blocker because either way I start off at 3 now with my tamer. So that's the downside of a tamer a little bit. Your opponent gets to play more aggressively with less punishment, but it's fine. I open my Tama, I Digivolve into Palmon for free. Now I'm wondering here if I'm going to Digivolve or if I'm going to go into Mimi right away. So I Digivolve first instead to go into Rafflesimon. Now I will activate Mimi. I will move Palmon onto the field. So I do have Rafflesimon out now. I don't remember what the next play was. I think I'm going to burst. Yes, I am bursting with Rafflesimon. So we'll get rid of Yokomon. Yeah, it looks like I'm not getting rid of the Yokomon, actually. I might want to save that for later on, for another burst later, maybe next turn where it comes into play more. But yeah, I am bursting my vanilla sources away. I locked their Grizzlymon, so it cannot block this turn. So a lot of people are, people say like you should just swing into the blocker with Palmon usually, but I just like to swing into security because the odds of it getting deleted with only 2 KDP are pretty high, so I prefer that. So I swing first with Rafflesimon, I live. because I was swinging for 13k from its own effect. Palmon is now at 14k because of, or 4k because of Rafflesimon's effect. I value having the memory choke more since my opponent looks like they are still bricking with still no rookie on their second turn. They're going to Digivolve. They Digivolve into Christ Paledramon. Christ Paledramon passes, I think it only puts me at 2 because it's 3 to Digivolve into, but because of Mimi, I get 3 to start the turn. I will stun right away. I forgot to unsuspend Mimi, but I think I'll do that in a second right now. Yes, I even forgot to unsuspend Rafflesimon. But yeah, I'll do that now. There we go. I locked, at the start of the turn, I locked their Christ Paledramon just to be safe. I will Digivolve into Gobblemon to get that free draw. I still have 3 memories, so I have a lot of plays I could potentially make here. I'm going to go ahead and move it out because that's another free swing because of Mimi. They don't have Summoning Sickness coming from the raising area. I do have a 3 memory. And I do have another Rafflesimon in hand, so I could Digivolve and burst again, but there's nothing else to stun on this field, so there wouldn't be a point to it. Let's see here. I'm wondering if I'm trying to remember what I do here. I'm just like watching the video and trying to see what happens here too. This is a while ago. Probably gonna play it safe and like go into blocker over Gobblemon instead of swing with it to be aggressive, because they're blocking right now. They're bricking right now to say. So the more I set up my field, the even harder it is for them to ever come back. I'm swinging for 13k with Rafflesimon because of its Digiburst earlier. So Sora Joe, that's another one. So if I get any Digimon with no sources on the field, that is potentially terrifying. They could get +4 potentially from whatever I leave them off. So that is horrifying. I got to be careful. So it looks like I Whistleint, which I think, I'm not sure why I did that at the time, because I'm pretty sure that I had Digibursted and stunned it earlier already. So I wonder if like that was just the best play I had in my hand at the time, because otherwise I would have passed them too much memory. Because I had Mimi. I could have gotten the same effect with Mimi and then had double Mimi. I'm almost... Did I Digiburst at the start? I actually kind of want to go back and see right now with you guys if I Digibursted at the start. Yeah, it looks like I Digibursted at the start of the turn. So I don't know why I did that. I must have just forgotten because, you know, tournament nerves and all that. So my opponents had 2 memory. Start of their turn. Their Tamer isn't doing much for them. Doesn't look like they're getting a Mega to be able to start making plays, because all they need is 1 Digimon with no Digivolution sources on my side of the field to start making plays with Hexeblaumon. But they play Absolute Blast, trash the Digivolution card at the bottom of one of your opponent's Digimon, then return one of your opponent's Digimon without Digivolution cards to the bottom of the deck. So they get rid of my Rafflesimon, which is a great play. Like, I think, considering how much memory passes over, it was sketchy, but I think it was the right play because I do have Rafflesimon in hand, so I could just keep stunning over and over again for as long as I want to, especially if I get a Palmon and be able to fill the sources up again. So, you know, get rid of that threat right away. I think at least they have to play assuming that I always have the option to burst and stun again. So I think that is a fantastic play on their end. That Whistleint was definitely the wrong play for me. I should have played Mimi because I would have had double Mimi. But, you know, I don't have any rookies in hand anyway, so like either way, like it's just whatever I needed to pass a little of memory as possible. So now I did download or Digisorption on my blocker to go into Blossomon for free. So now I could go into Rafflesimon again. Now I can Digiburst freely again. So I get 1 memory from Weedmon, and then the other one is just a vanilla Digiburst away. Their Christ Paledramon is stunned yet again, so they cannot attack with it. It has been stunned the entire time. Gotta be really frustrating to play against, but like that's the slow and steadiness of green, of the new Digiburst color. You want to like be really careful and tactical about your plays, know when to stun, when to swing, when to go wide, and when to just build board and make sure you have a presence that your opponent can't come back from all the stalling you're doing. Unfortunately, my opponent is bricking, so like I think in any other scenario, they would have been obviously building up another stack that would have been much better for this, for answering my stunning. But you know, I would have just been able to go into so here I was just having some trouble with the lag getting Kabuterimon on there. So there we go, I go into Lilamon. But yeah, in any other scenario, I would have had another Rafflesia to go into. It's once per turn effect is only a soft once per turn, so once you Digivolve, I would be able to stun whatever the second stack is with the second Rafflesia. So even if they weren't bricking, I don't feel the matchup will be too worse. I guess because of all the source stripping, it would be a little bit harder, but as you'll see in game 3 of this match, it still is doable for green. So it's my opponent's turn to Digivolve for free into the Goemon. I believe that's the promo Goemon, that when you source strip someone, you gain 1 memory. I don't remember off the top of my head, and I can't see from here, but they are a 1 memory that I left them with because of the Digimon with sources on my side of the field. Sora and Joe's doing absolutely nothing for them, and which is unfortunate because in any other scenario they would have come down to the racing area, Digivolved into like Christ Pilgrimon, Blucomon, whatever the other level 4 is, and then they would have stripped sources through that. So my opponent here is thinking through the plays. We can go ahead and skip ahead a bit, quite a bit actually. I'm skipping quite a bit. They're barely doing anything. So they go into their 1 cost vanilla, then they go into their 2 cost vanilla, and I will move into the raising area with Mimi, and then I will move into the raising area naturally. They'll hatch with Mimi to get that extra draw. But I think they are like at 2 security right now or whatever, so this is game either way. I just want to build up this stack just in case, because you never know what you reveal in security and then you end up losing it. So my opponent just tried to turbo through their vanillas. That's all they did to pass turn, which feels bad because in the case of Mimi, you know, you get a start of 3 anyway, so for only 1 memory, I go into another Rafflesia. So just to be absolutely safe by what could possibly reveal in security, I wanted to draw into that other Rafflesia, be able to stun again, and then I will swing in security because they don't have a Hexeblaumon, so I can swing with Digimon without sources, and luckily that revealed a 12k or 11k, I think it's 12k Vikingmon. So luckily I was able to get that extra Rafflesia so I could burst again, otherwise I would have died to security there. It doesn't really matter because it was the end of the turn, but you know, in case something else was revealed. It didn't really matter there, but you know, in case something was revealed, it's nice to make sure it lives or whatever. So let's go ahead and go to game 3, final one. We are 1-1, and we're going to the final game of this set. This is round 2 of the Nightmare Colosseum tournament. So I am filling up my security while my opponent goes ahead and starts, since we're getting close to the time of the match. They reveal, I believe it was Upamon again. Yes, they revealed Upamon. They're debating going into the Jamming Demon, which is a fantastic card because you could always jamming on a rookie is amazing. Because like right away you can start swinging super aggressively and not worry about dying to anything, unless it's like what do you call it? Gaia Force or something, but who wants to use Gaia Force on a rookie? Like, any advantage is advantage too, but it's also like I would have rather saved that for something bigger, like an Omnimon or something, if you had waited to swing. But my opponent, similar to first game, they will go into Grizzlymon to pass turn, starting me with 2 memory. I have an okay opening hand. This is certainly better than the first game at the very least, but I don't have a champion. I don't see that clear lineup, which is a little worrying. So I go into Terriermon, start them off at only, or rather Digivolve for free, you get that free draw. Here I was debating playing Palmon and starting them with 1, or going straight into Mimi and starting them with 2. In retrospect, I wish I had gone into the Palmon and started them off at 1, because like they're at their champion, so like unless they had Monzaemon in hand right now, they would have started off me with 2 minimum. You know, so I would have rather waited to play with Mimi then, because then I would have had more board presence. They would have been choked at 1 memory. They would have, maybe they didn't even have an ultimate. I don't know at the time of that play, you know. So I think Mimi was a better play there. They do go into their level 3 cost ultimate, so I would have started with 2 memory. So I would have been a little bit more of an advantage there if I had played that first. But it's no big deal. Gotta go ahead and move. Still no champions, so I'm going to use Terriermon's Digiburst effect, which lets me search the top card of my deck if it's green, add it to hand. If it's a green Digimon, add it to hand. If it's an option or something else, it goes to the bottom of your deck. So I was able to get the target, but unfortunately it was an ultimate, so it's really nothing I could do with in that hand, unfortunately. So here I'm debating like what on earth I'm supposed to do next. So I'm debating if I just hardcast my champion. Instead, I'm going to hardcast Palmon, which I think was a big misplay because now I have nothing I can Digivolve into. The lowest memory I could give them right now is 4 if I want to whiff the Whistling. So that's better, but like I should have just hardcasted Lilamon or Blossomon to be able to go into Rafflesimon next turn. My worry was that I wouldn't be able to do anything because of a Hexeblaumon, so that's the worry, that I wouldn't be able to do anything. But like right now I currently cannot do anything. I just gave them 8 memory for them to go into their boss where I can't do anything with, so that's like really unfortunate. I'm not seeing any champions to be able to climb. But I think I should not have given them, obviously I should not have given them all that memory, because my thought was hopefully be able to swing with Palmon and be able to you know, put sources underneath so that it can swing. But the problem is it can't swing because it doesn't have the source itself. I hardcasted it, so I definitely should have just played Lilamon, start them off with at least only 5, or Blossomon, start them off with only 4. I would have rather have played Blossomon though, because if I had to, because yeah, I give them one more memory, but I also get that inheritable underneath Rafflesimon, so that's really valuable. So they are going to swing. They do have Christ Pilgrimon underneath, so that has security tech +1. First check, let's see what it's going to be. It's a little bit of lag revealing it. Goblimon, so that's the problem with running so many rookies. Your security isn't too impactful. And then the Bancho Stingmon didn't really do anything, but the higher DP wouldn't have mattered anyways because it has jamming. Since I have plenty of Digimon with no sources on the field, so my opponent wouldn't mind a higher DP Digimon being revealed. It wouldn't have changed the outcome of that check. So they have a ton of memory to work with. Let's see what they're going to go ahead and do with it. Also, it looks like he's barely paying for his Hexa Blue now. Should have done that earlier, but that's fine. They go to 5 memory from 8. So that would have been better because it would have been at 2 right now if I had just hard casted it. But I guess I wanted the field presence. So my opponent's just going to hard cast something. Oh yeah, Rafflesimon for only 4. So they hard casted that, and then they Digimon over it with their 1-cost blocker, Coelomon, something like that. But so they're that put them at 0. Then they hard cast their Sora and Joe. That starts me off at 4. So even more than the memory tamer gives me. So that's fantastic. Lots to work with. I do have Palmon, and I do have a level 5, so I can go out now. Hexa Blue is out now, so unfortunately I can't swing with a lot of these. And I think I actually will make that misplay that my opponent catches, thankfully. But yeah, I can't swing right now because there's no sources on field. But I do have 4 memory. I can go into Rafflesimon without even going to 0 yet. So that's 1. Leaves me at 1. I get to draw off that. Let's see what I draw into. I draw into another Palmon, which is fantastic because those Palmons are what I'm going to need right now. So this is the duel that's going to showcase like how good Palmon is in this green build, because I'm able to keep refilling not just the Digiburst but also the you know, the stack underneath my Digimon. So I swing at security because I'm only at 11k. So I don't believe I Digiburst. So that wait, they checked security but they blocked. No, I had Lilamon underneath it, so I rested the blocker so he couldn't block, and I checked security. I Digivolve for 1. I didn't want to swing into Hexeblaumon because although it would remove it, I would be also losing my Mega myself too, because we would trade at best, as I could have Digiburst then, but now I can Digiburst, so maybe the play always was to just Digivolve and then swing over that, so then I wouldn't have to play around it like that. But you know, now Hexeblaumon can't even attack next time, so that's fine. They are now at 4 security. Unfortunately, the mod is like weird right now because of lag, so it doesn't save, but they are at 4. Palmon, that was the misplay I was talking about earlier. I can't attack, so thankfully they caught that. Can't do that because of the all turns without sources, you can't block their attack. Luckily, I do have the Palmon with the source, so I can swing at that. So here what I do is I do that. Hopefully it gets destroyed. I don't believe, yes it does, 6k, so it does get destroyed. On deletion effect added to another Digimon, so now I can swing again. So this is where I misplayed. I was told, what I did was I put it on the Rafflesimon because I'm tunnel visioning to my boss monster, you know? I want to be able to attack with it, I want to be able to Digiburst next turn because I'll be able to stun again with Rafflesimon. So what I was told though afterwards of the duel is I should have, because Palmon can put itself underneath any green Digimon. So what I should have done was put it underneath Palmon, swing with that Palmon, hopefully it dies again, and then put it underneath Rafflesimon for next turn. So that way I would have gotten more swings per turn. So that was a misplay on my end, but also you could make the argument that I was just trying to make sure I had a Digiburst set up for next turn to be able to stun it again, you know? But either way, like it would have been the same end result, so that was a misplay on my end. That is a really cool strategy, big brain stuff to do with the green in this matchup. You know, put Palmon underneath Palmon so you can keep swinging, and then put yourself underneath Rafflesimon. But yeah, I Digivolved to Rafflesimon, shut them at 1, and I needed to do that because if I gave them any more, they would have started at more than 3 because of Sora and Joe, since I do have 2 sources Digimon on the field. So that is fine with me that I passed them to 1, but it sets them to 3. That is okay. They reveal their Digi-Egg Upamon. They Digivolve into Jamming Vmon. They accidentally draw a bunch of cards. They misplayed or misput the button, so I'm just going to skip all that. And then I guess they got their draw now. Let's see here. They're thinking. It looks like they're attacking security to get off the inheritables. When you trash a Digivolution card on one of your opponent's Digimon, gain 1 memory. So yeah, they attack Rest Sora and Joe. That trashes 2 from the bottom of one of my Digimon. Unfortunately, that is trashing my Rafflesimon, so I wouldn't be able to attack. Really unfortunate. But they do pass the memory. Then they gain 1 back from the inheritable of Bluecomon. So that's a fantastic set of plays there by my opponent. I'm just double checking to make sure what happens, since there wasn't a voice chat for this duel. They do reveal Blossomon, however, so their blocker is gone now. I don't have to worry about stunning that to be able to attack through things anymore. So that is a bit of a relief. I don't know if that was the best trade in the world. I definitely would have rather kept my blocker, since it's hard to play through that plus Hexeblaumon. But I mean, you know, you gotta take that swing. You don't know if you're gonna survive or not. Who knows? You know, it's worth the swing. So that is 1 less security for me. I think I am at 3 probably right now, maybe 3 or 4. I wish the number counter actually worked for this duel, but you know, lag kind of worked it a bit. But they seem to still be at 2 memory. Because they gained 1 back from Bluecomon, Inheritable. Then they pay 1 memory going to Gorillamon. They are now at 1 memory, so they're going to go into, is that Zudomon? I want to see, it looks like Zudomon or Loader, yeah, here. So that is a graded Inheritable, you know, because you get that restand, you get an extra memory or whatever. But yeah, because of that, Tamer, I do get to start at 3 at least. I have to spend all my Digimon, and Tamers reveal Yokomon. Thankfully, I get another Palmon in hand, or I have one, so I can play that. I'll draw off of that. I do get Digiburst Terriermon, which is pretty cool. You know, in this deck was not what I need at the moment, so I'm going to go ahead and move it into the racing area. Currently, it's not stunned, but this is basically a game because now I could swing. It will hopefully die, put it underneath Rafflesimon, swing, and then Digivolve anything and swing again, because I think they're at 2 or 3 memory right now. They might be at 3 from what I remember. I'm just debating best way to do this right now, because I do have the 3 memory, so I can attack with at least 1 other Digimon without passing turn, but I'm going to go ahead and swing with Palmon. We're going to see that this unfortunately actually reveals Hammer Spark, so I'm getting ready to trash the Palmon, but no, it revealed Hammer Spark, so the thing lives. The one time you don't want your Ricky to live, of course it does, so that puts me at 1 memory, which really changes things, because unfortunately, like, I have to do something to lock him at only 1 memory now, or he's going to go, like, way too much memory. So I'm at 3 security. I'm going to play Whistling because I can't burst with Rafflesimon, so that puts him at 3. Unfortunately, gets 2 from Sora and Joe. So what was important to me was to lock that thing down, because I do only have 3 memory, and they have another stack coming, which could potentially be another Hexeblaumon. So that would be 4, you know, in 1 check. That'll be not game, I believe, but very close to it, to having lethal on board. You know, if they have anything with Rush, I don't think Blue does, but, you know, something like that would have been able to win game there. So that was really important, even with all the memory I gave them, to lock them down, so I don't have to worry about it. But they are at 2 memory right now. I have 2 bodies I can potentially swing with, and I can Digivolve with the Sunflowmon to swing with that. So this all comes to how much my opponent can remove, because we saw what the removal was, like Arctic Blast or something like that, which is not the best removal, because that is 6 to get rid of a rookie right now, or my Mega, to be fair. But you only get to remove 1 Digimon, so they go into Vikemon. While your opponent has Digimon with no Digivolution sources, this gains 1 DP and Security Attack +1. So that was my worry. He does get another Security Attack +1 Mon, and he does reveal my last 2 security cards. But thankfully, Hexablue is locked earlier. He gets a memory off of Zudomon, but Hexablue is locked down earlier from the Whistling I played, thankfully. He gained that 1 extra memory from that Zudomon and Inheritable. It looked like, should that have gone off? But either way, it's alright. So it's still their turn. They're debating how they're going to pass turn to me, since they cannot attack. If they had a level 6 right now, that would be really devastating. You could go into Onimon. I would start with 4, to be fair, but that'd be really bad, because you just wipe out all my Palmons if you had Onimon here. I don't know how much Hexablaus actually play Onimon or not, but is, you know, if any blue or red deck, you might as well run it. It is a fantastic tool to just keep control of the board and keep pressuring your opponent while also pushing for game. It's an amazing card. So they just go ahead and hard cast Monzaemon, because it's 5 to play at 2 cost, at 5 to play at 2 memory. They're starting me off with 3 anyways, and I can cheat out another Mega if they need to next turn. So that's fine. I luckily, heart of the cards, I draw another Palmon off of my top deck. I got Mimi, so now there's like no worries. Like, I will absolutely be able to play through everything if I have to right now. Draw for that. Mimi, move into the battle area, swing at security. That does reveal 1. That will, yep, Vikemon, so it dies, and I get to put it underneath Rafflesimon, so now I got another security I can swing at. I will swing with Rafflesimon. That will reveal whatever is in there. Let's see what it is. It was a Grizzlymon, so I live. If it died, it didn't even matter. But I do live, and now I have a 2-cost champion I can thankfully Digivolve into, and I can swing for game. That is game, because now I have a source, and I can attack with my Sunflowmon. So that was the duel. That was a really good duel, and I think it really showcases, even with my misplays, how good green still is to be able to play through these tough threats that directly counter it if you know what you're doing, if you build right, and if you pace yourself accordingly. So if there was misplays, and I was still able to do this like really bad matchup, I feel like, for green. So yeah, it is a very fun deck to pilot. I really like the new Digiburst focused gimmicks of green in Booster Set 5. I have another duel coming up from the Nightmare Colosseum soon after this, against the Diaboromon. So I hope you guys like this duel. Let me know your thoughts in the video below. I'll see you in the next video, and until then, remember to stay hungry until you get a taste of victory.